morning, Laguna Woods. Thank you for tuning in to Inspiration for Today. Mike Chamberlin is also here today, and we're going to put you to work here in just a second.
It's not work, Pastor.
I know it's not for you. But I just wanted to start today with one of my favorite verses, which is Psalm 33, verse 3. And it says, "Sing to him, the Lord, a new song. Play skillfully and shout for joy."
Bingo.
I love all parts of that, but the one thing, the word that stands out to me in that verse is the word new. The fact is, somebody say, well, that's not Christian music or whatever. The Lord loves variety in music, as he does in every aspect. Why are there, 1,000 flowers? Why are there?
Right.
He loves variety.
Well, I have to kind of tiptoe through this when I do my performances. I always try and introduce the Lord into my concerts, and it's not easy. I don't know how to say this gracefully. You won't believe how many times an atheist will come up to me and say, "How dare you play your Christian music?" And I now have a stock reply because it happens more than I want it to, and I always say, I understand what you're saying. I understand it. I don't believe it, but I understand it. And so because you don't believe, I'm not supposed to believe? Is that your theory? Just because you don't, I'm not supposed to? Yeah. So I tiptoe. And I have certain songs that I can now slip in and not get too much flack for it. But
that's really interesting.
It is. It's sad. It's actually sad.
But the reality is music is different in different cultures and at different times.
Yet the universal language.
And yet why do we love it? Because God created it.
I could stand in a street corner in Portugal and sing any song I want, and people will still listen. Yeah.
Mike is doing a show for us, and he does this show often. Although I think this Music Through the Ages or through the decades is one of your newer ones, maybe.
It's actually one of the first ones I've done.
Oh, okay.
And I've added on since then. So. Yeah, I start in for practical purpose, I start in the 40s, I go to the 50s, the 60s, I touch the 70s. My theory is that music died after the Beatles. So, people will argue with me, the Depeche Mode, and of course the Eagles had their runs, and Michael Jackson, and, but for me, music kind of ended at the end of the 60s.
Well, we just recently went on the Liverpool Beatles tour. So
did you go on? I did too. I know.
Total fan.
I know.
Anyway, so Mike's going to be doing a show, Music Through the Decades, for our volunteer appreciation dinner in January, and we have 300 or 400 volunteers, and you're such a blessing to us when you come. But this is the show we chose, so I thought if you did a couple of those songs this morning. And then next Monday we'll do a couple more.
Okay, we'll do one from the 40s and one from the 50s. And
what do you got?
Well, let me think. I'm having 1,000. I'm having 1,000 run through my mind right now. So, this is not my number one choice, but it's the one that everybody can sing along to at home. Okay,
sing along.
Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. We've got the blues on the run. Zing, boom, torero. Sing out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel for the gangs. All here, this is where everybody joins in. Roll out the barrel.
No, you can sing along.
We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out. I'm losing my voice.
Carry it.
We've got the blues on the run. Let me clear it. Zing, boom, torero. Sing out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel for the gangs all here. Do.
You can apply. Big audience today.
Yeah, I know. Huge.
Interesting choice of songs, the barrel being the keg.
Yeah. Well, it's the beer barrel polka,
okay.
in its true form. So,
well,
anyway. Then the 40s are the most beautiful songs
So
ever
that
written.
was after the war.
No, that was during the war.
It was during
Yeah.
the war.
As were some of the most beautiful songs ever written, in my opinion. I mean, I grew up with the Beatles and Rolling Stones, but my heart isn't in the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. It's really in these songs from the 1940s. But it did give way to the 1950s.
Yes.
And where do you begin? You know, you had Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley, but I chose this one because she passed away just a few weeks ago, Doris Day.
Oh,
In her late
yes.
90s in Carmel, California, and left behind hundreds of hits, but this was probably the biggest of them all. When I was just a little child, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Now I have children of my own. They ask their father, what will life be? Will we have rainbows day after day? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see, que sera, sera, what will be, will be. Que sera, sera. Doris Day. I know. Isn't that beautiful?
That song has really impacted our culture.
You know, it's interesting. That song, as light and airy as it is, came from a very dark Alfred Hitchcock movie
Is that
called The Man Who
right?
Knew Too Much. And it's a very, well, every Alfred Hitchcock movie is dark and dreary, but to think that that lovely song came out of a dark movie is crazy. So.
It really is, but I say it impacted the culture because that's a phrase, even if you don't know the song, what will be, will be. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's American.
I love the song because it goes through, I left out a verse in the middle, but it starts with when I was just a little boy, and then it's, then I grew up and fell in love. I asked my sweetheart, what will I be? And then at the end it goes, now I have children of my, it goes through the life cycle in 2 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, which isn't easy to do.
Well, the thing is that for me, it's so interesting because it interacts with the Bible that teaches that God is sovereign and control of things. And so we often teach that we don't control over what comes into it, but how we react to that is under our control. And so what will be, but how I react to that isn't necessarily.
I know there's a take I never put on it. There's
Yeah.
a spin I never put on it,
Yeah,
but I
because
understand what you're saying.
I add in the fact that God is the one behind what's happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mike, you have one more real quick?
Well, we could do.
We'll just play out with it.
All right, let's see. Let me see. I haven't done this one in a while, but this was you know, we're losing a generation of performers, and the last of the McGuire sisters passed away, and this was kind of a fun
So
song.
Laguna Woods, we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to close with this song.
Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time. Be my little sugar and love me all the time. Honey in the morning, honey in the evening, honey at supper time. Be my little honey and love me all the time. Put your arms around me, swear by stars above, you'll be mine forever in a heaven of love. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time. Be my little sugar and love me, love me, love me all the time.